The Tennessee men's basketball team opens up the season on at home tomorrow night at Thompson Bowling Arena to preview the season and the season opener for the Tennessee men. We bring in Tennessee Volunteers assistant basketball coach John Harris. Coach Harris, Vince Ferrara, Evan Woodbery. How you doing, Coach?
Doing great, man. How are you?
We're great. Good. Great to talk to you, hear your voice. We really appreciate it. You had a different sort of ramp up to the season this year. You had, as Mike Strange the other day referenced it, the double secret scrimmage that no one's allowed to talk about against Georgia Tech, and then you had just the one exhibition game. Do you feel like with this sort of setup that you're just as prepared, if not more, for the season, or is it about the same?
Our guys are excited. You know, as a staff, this was our first experience with, going the scrimmage route. But, it was good for our guys, and now it's the exhibition, get in front of a crowd, and being able to run through our offense and defensive schemes again the other night was good for us.
Did you see anything on the court during that exhibition game that maybe you hadn't seen, or did it highlight any things that enhance anything that you've seen during practice now in that game situation?
Not really. I just think as a whole the exhibitions are good because you have to go out, like I said, on a stage, so to speak, and execute things that we've done, really going back to the summer, before our trip to Italy. So now you've got to be able to execute under fire and under the lights, and to have the opportunity to do that before an actual game tomorrow night, is a good opportunity for us.
Coach, I wanted to ask you, how do you get your guys mentally focused to play Kennesaw State, which went, I think, 3-28 last year, when you've got this nice trip to Puerto Rico coming up in about a week, and the sunshine and the beaches and all that? Is that a struggle to get guys to focus in on this one?
Oh, it can't be a struggle at all. I think last year was evidence of anybody can beat you any given night, and I think our guys have learned a lot of tough lessons last year in that regard. I think when you're trying to, get to where you're an elite level program, and trying to be one of the best, it doesn't matter who the opponent is or what the other jersey says. You're going to approach every game with the same mentality.
We're visiting with Tennessee men's basketball assistant coach John Harris. Tennessee men open up the season against Kennesaw State tomorrow night at Thompson Bowling Arena, 7 o'clock tip. Coach, I want to go through a couple of your new guys one by one and just let our listeners hear your description of their game and what they're bringing to the table. We'll go one by one. Last year, Quentin Chivas with the red shirt, obviously, he's on the court. Impressive exhibition game with 15 points and 9 boards the other night. Talk about Quentin Chivas' game.
Q's, he's really made a lot of strides. I think as a red shirt last year, first, from a mental standpoint, that's never easy. I think as a competitor, you always feel you're ready. You want to be out there. You want to help your guys, and it's not easy to sit on the bench, So I commend him, for really coming every day with his hard hat and working and being a good teammate, given those circumstances, and I think the success that he had the other night is a direct result of that. Q is a guy that is a high-energy guy. He's got one of the best motors on the team as far as from start to finish. You're going to see the same amount of effort from him. As far as his skill set, I think he showed that the other day again. He can step out and shoot the ball. He can handle the ball. Obviously more of a perimeter guy that plays a small four for us, and I think he'll be a matchup problem for teams this year.
He looks like he can outboard much bigger guys. Why is that?
It's a mentality. To be a good rebounder, it doesn't matter what size you are. It really doesn't. Q1, he's an explosive athlete. He's a good jumper. He's a physical kid. But he has a mentality to rebound. Really no different than Jerron Mayman, who is obviously bigger than Q, but smaller than a lot of post guys that will play. And he's one of the best rebounders in America.
Visiting with John Harris, Tennessee men's basketball assistant coach, here on the new Sentinel Sports Page. What about DeMontre Edwards, a guy that a lot of us that have seen your team really like his game? Talk about DeMontre.
DeMontre, again, is a guy that has a good skill package. He can shoot the ball, handle the ball, a very good rebounder. And he'll bring a lot of good things, versatility to our team. Obviously trying to replace a guy like Cameron Tatum that, had a wealth of experience. I think, obviously, DeMontre is learning on the fly a little bit. He's an older guy, but still really a freshman, a new guy in our system, so to speak. So, he's going to take his lumps along the way, but has a good approach to the game, and physically he's got good tools.
And what about Armani Moore?
Armani's a guy that, again, great size, as a point. I mean, a legit 6'4", however much he weighs, 205, 210 pounds. Very good with the ball. He's shifty in transition. He's got great court awareness. The whole thing with Armani is really going to be, his decision-making, because he can kind of get sped up at times, and he's done a great job, running our team, and obviously going against a guy the caliber of Trey Golden every day has been great for him. And he's learning a lot on the fly, but, he's got great instincts as a point, can really handle the ball and pass it.
Coach, I was wondering what kind of vibe you're getting as far as the excitement around campus. It seems like people are really looking forward to seeing this team, and there are some high expectations for this season. As a coach, do you like those high expectations, or are you more in the camp that says, hey, let's be patient and let's see how this team looks once we get out to some real games?
To be honest, I think the expectations that come with the territory, I think especially in a town like Knoxville, people are excited about no matter what sport you're playing. People are going to come out and support. They want to see the university do well, and that's obviously a good thing. Some people would say a good problem to have. For us, our expectations are all internal anyway. Media people, fan base, whoever, they'll talk about whatever and preseason rankings and all that. We don't talk a lot about that in our locker room. We don't get caught up in it, and we don't have any control over it. So that's a good thing about Coach Martin is he keeps the guys really on an even keel. We approach every day the same, every game is the same, and the expectations will take care of themselves.
Coach, it's really impressive when seeing you guys practice how you have a complete staff of shared responsibility. Talk about how you guys plan out what you want from a daily basis from your guys, because the smoothness of how everyone works together on the staff and in practices and training those guys is very impressive.
I think, again, that starts with the head coach. We're all going to follow Coach Martin's lead, and he's a team-first guy. Obviously he's the head of the program and makes all the decisions, but he doesn't put himself above anybody else, and I think everybody else falls in line, and to be honest, it starts and finishes there. He assembled a staff that, guys are hungry, guys are hard workers, but the chemistry is there, because that's the one thing from our standpoint. We can't expect our guys to go out and perform at a high level and be good teammates and work the ball and help each other on defense and do those sorts of things. From a chemistry standpoint, if our staff doesn't display it, and I think that's the great thing about our staff is we do work together. We're all going to try to go under the radar best we can. It doesn't matter who gets credit for what. We're as long as our team is getting W's, on game night, that's all that matters to all of us.
I know you can't mention specific guys, but how do you summarize recruiting right now at Tennessee, and what prospects think about Tennessee at this point, now a year in, as opposed to when you guys got here?
I think people are excited. I really do. I think we're, right where we want to be. Again, you can't speak specifics, but that's one of those things that is a major part of our job. Obviously this time of year our focus is on our team, but the recruiting never stops. And you're always on the phone, you're always writing notes, sending emails, whatever the case is. But I think a year in, like you said, guys have a better understanding of what we're about and the direction that we're trying to move in. Whereas last year you're really, you're selling Coach Martin, which obviously that's still the case. But now the guys have been able to be on campus and be around our staff and see us on TV and watch games and that sort of thing. It's a little bit easier from that standpoint, just because people kind of know what Tennessee is now.
Coach, we're visiting with John Harris, Tennessee men's basketball assistant coach, as the Volunteers open up the season tomorrow night. Is it time that the NCAA maybe advances its rule book in terms of recruiting and what those rules are with the social media? Can that be updated, do you think?
That's one of those things, again, it's kind of out of our control. Whatever the rules are, we're going to abide by them and really not get caught up in it. But that's changing every year. That rule book is 300-400 pages, and they're always taking things out, adding things. Some rules have changed, this year, and that's kind of an ongoing deal. It really is.
Give us a scouting report of Kennesaw State. What do you guys know about them at this point?
It's a new program. I shouldn't say a new program, but a new staff. I mean, in their second year. So they're trying to find their way a lot like we are. You know, I mean, they've got 7 new guys coming in this year. That being said, they are returning, you know, their best player and one of the best players in their league. And Marquise Cummings is a big-time scorer. You know, he's got over 1,600 points in his career. But they're an explosive team. I mean, they can score the ball. They got really quick guards. Not an overly big team, I mean, as far as size, but, you know, they've got a lot of guys that can handle and score it.
Without Jerome Maimon right now until he gets back, he was certainly your, far and away, your vocal leader. How is that leadership being handled and distributed right now when Maimon isn't on the court with the guys?
You know, it might end up being a blessing for us, to be honest, because when you remove a guy like that from your unit, like you said, so many guys rely on him from a communication standpoint, from a leadership standpoint. You know, when you have breakdowns on defense, he's always there. Doesn't matter where he is on the floor. He's got those instincts about him to where he covers a lot of guys' mistakes. So now you take that guy out of the lineup, everybody else has to raise their level. You know, the stakes are raised. And I just think collectively, I wouldn't really single out one guy. But I think as a whole, the guys have, you know, see the result of him not being on the floor. Now it's like, man, I got to step my game up. And I think the guys have done a good job of that as a whole.
Fans want to talk about Jarnell Stokes all the time. So last thing with you, Coach, talk about his improvement. He looks so much different. Talk about his improvement and what his role you think will be with this basketball team this year.
I mean, obviously he'll be a big part of what we do. You know, I mean, he's a lot better physically, I think. You know, he's chiseled his body out more. He's moving better, handling the ball a little bit more, and has expanded the things that he's capable of doing. I think, you know, as a fan base, you'll be able to see him, you know, step away from the rim and attack off the dribble and do other things that he didn't do on a consistent basis last year. But probably the biggest advantage for Jarnell moving forward is, again, he has a year, or I should say a semester, under his belt, so he kind of knows what to expect. You know, last year you throw him out there, he's really a high school kid and trying to find his way. And now I think going through it, being through a whole preseason and off-season and all that, you know, mentally I think he'll be better prepared for what to expect.
And laying off those Gatorades other than game day, right?
Exactly.
Coach, really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing your team tomorrow night. Good luck. We appreciate the time.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
That is John Harris, assistant basketball coach for Tennessee. Tennessee opens up the season at Thompson Bowling Arena tomorrow night against Kennesaw State.